All right, let's talk a little bit about the coaching chaos that's out there. Lincoln Riley to USC. Lincoln Riley, right after Bedlam, the loss 37-33, comes out and says, I'm not going to LSU. People pause, reconsider things a little bit. Next thing you know, he's on his way to USC. My argument is this is why nobody trusts coaches. But let's talk big picture here. How much of a difference do you think Lincoln Riley can mean for USC and also the Pac-12?
Oh, I think he makes USC a contender maybe as soon as next season, as far as the impact he's going to have immediately with USC, because he's got quarterbacks on his roster already. We've seen a number of players already decommit from Oklahoma in the last 24 hours that I think are going to potentially follow Lincoln Riley out to the West Coast. And when you look at the Pac-12 from top to bottom, other than maybe Mario Cristobal and the resources that Phil Knight pumps into Oregon football, where is the real competition? I mean, Kyle Whittingham does an outstanding job, coaching up the talent he gets, but it's much more of a blue-collar mentality in Salt Lake City. Arizona State had their window, and Herm Edwards has not delivered with some of the promise down there in Tempe. And for all the things that Chip Kelly may be building in Westwood, we know UCLA is always going to be a little brother in Los Angeles to USC. So now you can make the case that Lincoln Riley has first dibs on any recruit west of the state of Texas that wants to go play in Southern California. You throw in the NIL capabilities there in terms of paying players and restoring that legacy for a team that, a lot of Los Angelinos really like to rally around behind maybe just the Dodgers and Lakers. I'll say that USC, Clay, in the next 2 to 3 years will be a much bigger deal than either of the two NFL franchises there. And I think you're talking about having a fertile recruiting ground right there in Southern California throughout the state that makes USC a legitimate contender as soon as next season.
It's wild. What do you think about Billy Napier to Florida?
I actually like the move. I know Billy had been linked to a number of jobs over the last couple of years. And when you look at what he's done to try and create some stability at Louisiana Lafayette, it's a credit to his coaching acumen. I think as a recruiter, it'll be interesting to see what he can bring to Gainesville. But I think Florida fans are going to have to be a little bit more patient. I don't think this rebuild happens overnight in the SEC East because you have Georgia, which has really distanced themselves from everybody else. We'll see what Tennessee can kind of bring back. And when you look through the rest of the landscape of the SEC, it only gets to be that much more difficult. So I think Gainesville will be just fine. Let's see what kind of staff Napier assembles around him. But I actually think it's a hire that's going to get a lot of scorn. But I think it was probably the best Florida was going to do, given some of the other high-profile jobs that still remain open. One other thing that I think is interesting too, Clay, could we see a scenario where Shane Beamer, who has ties to Oklahoma, decide to leave Columbia after 1 year, even if after that impassioned speech saying they were just getting started as head coach of the Gamecocks if Oklahoma came knocking?